Hello, my name is Aaron Cavanagh and I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of Post-Burnout.com. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. This is our website's podcast where we publish full-length recordings of our interviews, which are sometimes the unedited versions of our site's articles and at other times are exclusives. If you're a returning listener, thank you for coming back, and if this is your first time listening, thank you for checking us out. We hope you enjoy and consider subscribing, giving the episodes a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, or giving it a rating if you're anywhere else. It really helps us out. Thank you. Alright, in this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, we speak with brothers James and Brian Edwards of the Dublin-based rock, guitar and drum duo Huntings to discuss their recently released debut album Songs of Last Resort, the gallows humour behind the title, the near-decade wait to get it released, working with pop producer Terry Doyle on the album and what their vastly different backgrounds brought, and much more. I honestly think that Songs of Last Resort is one of my favourite records of the year that I've heard, and if you want to check out the band, they're playing tomorrow night at Fred Zeppelin's in Cork. There's a link to the tickets in the description of this episode. The band also mentioned in the interview that they're going to be playing Fibbers in Dublin at the end of the month. I think they said the 22nd, but I tried looking for details for that, including tickets on Hunting's social media as well as Fibbers' website, and I couldn't find any details or where to get tickets, so I guess just keep looking at their social media accounts for when that gets announced. Otherwise, enjoy. There we go.
There you go. We're sorted.
Thanks, perfect. Thanks very much.
I'm James, anyway. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Brian. Drummer Brian. It's probably better that you can kind of say it, so the voice
absolutely makes life easier when it comes to writing.
Even though
I don't have to attribute falsely.
Even though we look nothing alike, we sound the
same. And that's how you know your siblings when you have the exact same voice.
Exactly,
I mean, I'll try not to take you too long because I know it's a very busy day for you guys. Yesterday actually you were playing the launch show at Upstairs at Whelan's, so I guess first of all, how did that go?
Yeah, it was some night, all right. Anyway, still recovering, I think. Anyway, but it was brilliant. We a great crowd in, and the venue itself is always great there as well. So really enjoyed the night itself, and just having everybody there as well to really kind of celebrate the album and all that kind of thing was great as well. So I think it's probably been a while coming as well at this stage for us, with the album and all that kind of thing. So I think it was just such an amazing night, just kind of being with everybody that has been kind of following us through until this stage anyway. And we've had people that have stuck with us for a good while, good friends and all that kind of thing, and just to be there with all them and being able to celebrate it, and our family there as well, it was brilliant. So an absolutely brilliant night. We played with a couple of great bands, Fused and Valorias as well, and they were excellent, and we just really enjoyed it. So but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we had I think the build up to the album for the last few weeks has been quite we've been just kind of nervous all about it as well. We've been trying to kind of get this released for so long. We did a couple of maybe versions over the years since we've been Huntings, and we never quite got them over the line. And I think it was just a real release actually when I woke up today knowing it was out, and having the amazing crack we had last night with everybody as well. And we were surprised actually, some people that we hadn't seen in a long time. There was a great crowd there last night. Went really well. People just kept coming up to us just saying how much they love the kind of tunes and some of the older tunes as well. So it was just a really really great night, and an amazing kind of launch night for us as well. Hopefully we'll have a few more kind of gigs coming up that we can kind of celebrate a bit more as well. We're playing in Cork in next week, but it's just been a great night and a great day today as well. So we're really happy it's finally out.
Right, now the album out, that's it.
Yeah, I was just picturing as you were saying that, just kind of turn to and go, right, on to album 2 now after all building stuff.
That's all. That's what we're thinking already. Anyway, so
in some ways,
we've got some stuff
stuff in the pipeline anyway. So we're just
You can
trying
never
to.
just like celebrate the thing you just
Yeah,
put out because everyone always wants the next thing. It's like, oh, that's great. When's the next one? It's like, oh my God. Like you just listen to this
we
first.
especially do as well.
Could I ask,
Yeah.
like, because it's been like, as you're mentioning, like the album, it's been, a kind of a while in the making. But generally, like, how long has kind of hunting's been going around, and have you guys like played together prior to that, or is this kind of like first time playing as siblings together?
We actually, yeah, we actually had a band before called Legion of Ape that we started back in the early 2000s, it would have been. And we were a three-piece then, so we had a bass player as well. And we were going for a few years. We had a couple of, like, there was one particular highlight anyway. All the way back in 2008, we actually played at Glastonbury
Oh,
as
sick.
Legion of Ape. Like, yeah, so we got on one of the stages there. So that was an amazing highlight. Now, in fairness, so but we were going for a while, and then the bass player left. Like to do a couple other things or whatever, and we had been actually talking about like maybe kind of branching out and trying to do as play as a two piece anyway, because like a lot of the writing and stuff that we would have done, it was us kind of, stuff that we would uh, riff off each other or whatever, that kind of way that we would put together ourselves. And so we were talking about doing it as a two piece, and then when our bass player left, then at that stage we just decided to kind of completely like reform as something new and try and, I think as well, we kind of tried to take the sound of the band in a new direction a little bit as well. It wasn't a
Yeah.
million miles away, but it was maybe kind of shorter, punchier songs, a bit more immediate, a bit more stripped back and all that kind of thing. So that's where we started as Huntings then as well. And it was just, it kind of just made sense then at that stage to go as a two piece. But we've actually been playing together probably from, like, I'd say the mid to early 2000s, something like that. Like, and like we were both in bands when we were in school, in different bands, like, but that was when we actually formed together. It was kind of a bit accidental.
Yeah.
I think Brian got a new drum kit or something like that, and he was like, "Do you want to come out to the shed, like our ma's shed? Do you want to
Try it out,
have a
yeah.
little jam?" And then it ended up, we ended up writing the song nearly straight away.
I think both of us
Yeah.
had enough of our bands that we were in when we were, like,
Yeah,
in our teens, and
yeah,
so
Yeah.
we started messing around, and we started actually doing the two piece thing before we actually went into the Legion of Ape thing as well. So we always had it in our minds. I think the two piece setup, as James said there, we always definitely wanted to try it out, whether we could pull it off with, the kind of missing the bass kind of. We started off playing Legion of Ape tunes actually as a two piece, and see we could actually, could we pull them off without a bass, and a couple of them could be done, which we do throw in the odd time, but there was definitely some of them that we couldn't. So but we do really enjoy this, and I think we're happier doing it this way as well. It's not, no offense to our previous bases or anything, that
Yeah.
they wanted to do different things, but we find it really easy to kind of get together, like, write tunes in the studio, send each other stuff all the time, obviously as brothers, and obviously you have your little kind of
yeah.
fights all the time now and again.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I think,
disagreements, I would say. Not
yeah.
fights.
Sure.
I think as well, actually, the main thing for us is that a lot of the time we are on the same page with how we want the song to go, or there's kind of a little, we mightn't even necessarily need to say something when we're like messing around with a song, and we just kind of give each other a little nod here and there, and
Right.
just kind of go. We kind of know what each other are thinking as well, so that's why I always thought it worked. Like, initially, I was actually apprehensive about going without a bass player, but once we started doing it, like, it just made sense. And it makes sense a lot now. It's just a lot easier, just the two of us in there, and we kind of know what each other is thinking as well, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I mean, would you two have kind of like listened to the same music, or did you just have kind of like distinct styles that you were kind of like into, or yeah, what was kind of like the music pattern kind of like between you two, and generally, what do you find the other kind of brought that maybe you weren't listening to?
Yeah, well, actually, Brian was the one that played Nirvana for me for the first time, And I think when I was a kid, I was listening to like Mariah Carey and this kind of stuff. And then he put a
You can cut that one out.
yeah. Don't tell anybody else. But I think when
the sad thing would be like, and to be honest, I preferred Mariah Carey. But
yeah, exactly. I can't go back now.
I hope
But,
she's not listening.
yeah.
but then
I hope she is.
But then
share the podcast. Yeah, go
yeah. But then Brian put Smells Like Teen Spirit onto a cassette for me. Like it was just that one song, and I think I just like played it on repeat for like weeks and weeks. Like, and that just changed everything for me in terms of like my musical tastes and everything, and then kind of developed from there into like listening to bands like Soundgarden and stuff like that, and like Pixies and all, and that's so we do have a lot of shared interests from that point of view as well. I'd say Brian kind of listens maybe to a little bit more kind of
So
electronic stuff.
James didn't really fill you in on that one. It was his first tape that he ever got was Soundgarden Super. No, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. It was, and that was on his advice. Actually,
so I used to do a bit of DJing and stuff as well. So like I'm a massive Chemical Brothers fan and Prodigy and all that kind of early 90s, but late 80s, early 90s kind of dance music stuff as well. So I think I think my drumming sometimes I can kind of hear it as well. Very basic drummer, I would say, very kind of standard kind of beats, but I can hear the odd little dance beat in there somewhere. So we do share the influences together, I would say. And I've kind of put, we were even talking about Underworld later on and stuff like that, just kind of just loads of different genres and different kind of music that we listen to together as well, but and loads of gigs that we go to as well. Could be anything, could be bizarre stuff to heavy kind of rock stuff. We love Queens, Stone Age, massive fans of them, but we could also go to see a DJ in Dublin on a Friday night or whatever. Bit of banging techno, which always kind of goes down well as well. Yes, we've kind of shared them around. I think Nirvana, Pixies were massive influences to us, though, and I think that kind of I think people have even fed that back to us, which we didn't probably realize that our music kind of sounded quite like that, I suppose. We thought we were kind of trying to be a bit different, but definitely flows back in.
But also I think like we have like on the album in particular, we've got some other kind of influences that we after we kind of wrote the songs, we kind of saw the influences that we had that were kind of on those songs or whatever. Like, so there's a couple of songs that are, we were listening to a lot of like Portishead and Massive Attack and stuff like that as well. So we would have shared interests in that kind of stuff, and that
therapy as
well, that kind of thing. So that kind of comes out, I think, on the album as well. Like, so as we were kind of writing and we were going, oh yeah, kind of like this is along this kind of lines or whatever as well, So but we have a lot of shared interest from that point of view, innit?
Yeah, no, it's interesting too because like you've mentioned therapy there, and kind of like there you can kind of see like kind of eras of therapy. Like you can see kind of like the sort of industrial rock era with things like Teeth Grinder and stuff like that, and then you kind of see like the more kind of alt rock stuff with like Trouble Gum and kind of the metal stuff, and with like Suicide Pact and all these kind of like you can see like different kind of eras of them and stuff, and you can see kind of like different you can see kind of like what they're listening to too, and kind of how the production style varies, and they have some albums that are like very grungy and some albums that are very industrial, and it's just kind of like kind of all over the place. Are you guys kind of interested in kind of like listening to the same artist with a different producer or a different era, that kind of thing, just kind of comparing how the same band works under kind of, I guess, different parameters, or however you want to put that?
Yeah, I would say we would be all right. Like I suppose even coming back to I know like coming back to even to Nirvana, I suppose as well, like that kind of way. Like we've massive love for the stuff that Steve Albini did with them and with Pixies and all that kind of thing as well. And then you can exactly and then you can see kind of what they did previously then for Nevermind with Butch Vig, wasn't
Which
it?
figure?
Yeah, so like that kind of stuff, like it's interesting to go. Actually, like Steve Albini is a big influence on how we would try to make the album sound anyway, like as well.
Were you
We've
a fan of
always
his bands?
yeah, I
Yeah,
love Big Black,
Big Black,
big time
yeah.
anyway, like especially like Big Black
We,
Rhapsody.
we actually do a cover of the model.
How's it
Sorry,
going?
the model.
Oh
The
yeah.
model. Kraftwerk, the model that Big Black did. So we kind of tweaked it a little bit.
We do a cover of a cover,
a cover of a cover, but it was definitely it was the Big Black version of the model that
Right.
we love. It was amazing. But if you haven't, you've probably heard it, but it's amazing.
That is actually the first time I heard that song. I actually got into Kraftwerk because of Big Black.
Oh, right,
So,
yeah.
so I went kind of backwards because I remember years ago how I kind of even discovered Big Black was years ago. Mojo magazine had like a CD called Roots of Nirvana, and it was just like a random assortment of kind of like bands that influenced Nirvana, and the song Bad Penny was on there by Big Black. So that's how I kind of discovered them, and then I kind of like got into Shellac later, but that was kind of like Shellac I had to kind of acclimatize to, where Big Black was like immediate. I'm like, this is great, you know.
I'm so raging I never got to see Shellac as well. Like, and they came over to Dublin a few times over like you know the last couple of years as well. So raging I never got to see them.
But
I was shocked when he died, man. I was like,
shocked. Yeah,
we'd actually we'd spoken a few times about
going over
and actually trying to book a few sessions with him and all that kind of thing. I know, like he like it wasn't a fortune that he was charging for recording albums, because he always saw himself as like he wasn't a producer, he was just recording or whatever, like, you know, that's kind of
engineer,
engineering, so like we'd always talk about that and just seeing if there was some availability. So it's a shame probably when, you know, we'll never get to do that now or whatever, you know.
I mean, it's a shame more than that, but it's
but it's but just come back to that, there was something there, like another like big influence on us from his point of view was PJ Harvey's Rid of Me album. Like that the production on that is absolutely amazing, and that's something that we maybe even more than like Nirvana, it's nearly the sound of that album is nearly something we aspire to a lot of the time as well, you know, particularly the drums. Like the drums on that are absolutely amazing, like I think as well.
Never loud enough when
it's never loud enough. Nothing's ever loud enough.
But to be fair, she another kind of, I suppose in a kind of funny way, is she kind of heard that album and got rid of her whole band after that. Really, didn't she? As well, like, so maybe have similarities now. We didn't get rid of our band like that. But no, the sound we had a recorder. The sound of the drums and the bass, and like that bass that like it just sits in the background. You can't really hear it. That's I suppose what we kind of try to do with the two piece as well. You can kind of have the low end in the background. Still, you can kind of, you don't have to have the bass there. That's what we feel like we can actually do that. And well, James can do it. I'm on the drums, but he can do it on the guitars. But I think we do definitely, we found that kind of that sound that we were looking for, and it's all to do with all those influences, I have to say. And you know, the next year hopefully we'll try a few other things and see how that goes as well.
I think we have a few ideas for that anyway, so
it's an interesting dynamic in terms of like, you know, trying to fill the space between just two instruments, because I know even sometimes people playing 3-piece bands with the setup of a guitar, bass and drums, even they sometimes feel like there's too much space to fill. So I was wondering, like, how do you kind of approach that dynamic, because obviously you're very like spatially aware of kind of like where everything kind of sits in the mix, like it's stuff isn't getting gobbled, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. You're kind of like aware of where everything is, and like generally speaking, like does the sound kind of from your perspective, from what you're hearing, kind of differ from what you'd hear say on an album mix versus like what you're actually hearing live, and like any kind of feedback and monitors?
Yeah, I think there's always, I suppose, going to be a bit of a difference anyway from what we're doing live than what's on the album. But I think the main thing for us, we always try and get like if we're recording or whatever, we always try and we want it to sound live without obviously being. I know a lot of bands say that and whatever anyway, but like it's particularly prevalent for us maybe because we are a two-piece, and it's a much more, as I said earlier, like it's a much more kind of immediate sound. It's kind of really like it's right there at the forefront or whatever. So we try to, obviously we're trying to kind of fill the sound out as a two-piece, but at the same time the actual simplicity of it makes a big difference for us as well. Like it's something that we really enjoy, and the actual kind of stripped back nature of it is what we're kind of geared towards. Like we've never been kind of these virtuosos or anything on our instruments or something like that anyway. Sure. You know, like one of like Joy Division would be one of my favorite bands of all time, like, you know, and they were, you know, the riffs and the instrumentation was relatively straightforward if you break it down, but it was so powerful and so like the emotion you can get from just the straightforward kind of riffs here and there or whatever, you know, is a massive thing. And that's something that I always like really enjoy about our stuff, that we have, you know, it's a relatively stripped back nature, but we can kind of fill that sound out, and it's the power within just the few little things that we're doing can, like, it can kind of build and just makes it just kind of brings out, like, brings out some kind of visceral emotions or something like that, you know.
Basically, what he's saying is he won't be going off doing 20-minute solos, basically.
But he can if he wanted.
No, look, I'm as James is saying there, I'm a very basic. I think I'm a very basic drummer. I love the kind of straight beats, just no big mad kind of rolls involved. I love just kind of trying to get the low end of power in the drums. And we need it because we don't have the bass as well. But you know, James obviously has he uses guitar to kind of fill out that gap as well. But as you were asking, sorry, about like in the future, could we maybe look at different things as well? Like we absolutely we will. And I think we could probably get a bit bigger, like a bit bigger, maybe a bit 30 piece on there. 30 piece on there. Yeah, like I'd love to maybe meet a few. I think we both kind of love to try out kind of different. I love. There's a few few producers that could maybe try and tweak our sound a little bit, or maybe have ideas for us as well. I'd love to hear. You know, it's the songs. We have a few kind of songs ready, or not ready as such, but like nearly on the way to maybe the next kind of album or the next single or EP or whatever, that we're looking forward to getting stuck into now in the new year. And we'd love to probably try and see what we can do with those, you know, in a different way. So
that was actually a good thing as well about recording this album, that we were recording with a fellow called Terry Doyle out in Soundcaster Studios. And I think Terry said to us initially, like when we went in, he wouldn't actually have been used to recording rock acts really. Like, you know, he kind of recorded more, he'd be more kind of, well, he a bit of diversity with his stuff that he would have been recording, but generally it'd be more kind of poppy stuff that he had experience of recording and that kind of thing. But so he, like, it's the stuff that we were kind of bringing to him, he wasn't used to, but that actually kind of worked well as well. You know, he had some good ideas for us as well to kind of throw in various different things, and that really worked well for us. And like there's loads of his little kind of references on the album as well, in terms of like different, like, you know, he had good advice on what to do here and this kind of stuff. Which
if you can find a piano, in there somewhere, he's doing a lot of that as well. But I can't even hear it, but it's there.
But like stuff like because a lot of the bands that I would listen to and like Aspire to and all that kind of thing, like a lot of them might have the vocals buried in the mix and all this kind of thing, and he he couldn't get over that I wanted this kind of thing, but that was
that's
Prince
very Steve Albini.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, have
And
you
I'm
ever heard
hearing
of
myself.
Jesus?
I was like, every time we were listening back to the mix, I was like, can you make the vocals a little bit lower? And he's like, what? No, you can't do. And like so we were kind of bringing stuff to him that he wasn't used to, but he was also giving us a lot of kind of like, just it was good because he wasn't afraid to maybe voice his opinions on stuff as well, and that kind of helped.
And he in the end he really enjoyed the whole process as well. Like he had a new kind of opened his eyes to kind of maybe a little bit heavier kind of stuff than he was used to. Yeah, we spaced it out probably over a year. He had a great idea actually, which was it was kind of, instead of going in doing like a few days, 12-hour days or whatever, he spread it out over, come in for 2 hours, 3 hours, do your bits, go back and listen to them, come back in when you want, and then your ears aren't destroyed, or you can hear kind of things. We've been in doing stuff before, and you're there for 12 hours, and you're like, I know, and this is only 2, so obviously I'm not, there's a 7-piece band, it might be a lot different, but even then you're going, it's nice to bring it home, have a listen to it, come back in, and he was fresh as well, so he had like, he was, he was very on the ball when we went back in, and we knew what we wanted to change, or we wanted to do something different.
You can go away and kind of have a think about it, listen to the mix, kind of, what needs to be added, that kind of thing. So it really makes a difference, and then you're not killing yourself trying to get everything done in a short period of time, and then you realize then, oh, actually we should have done this, like, this kind of thing. So that's it probably took a bit of time in terms of the actual like calendar months or whatever, but the actual period of time that we were in the studio was relatively short, but it really worked for the way we work then as well, and again, like a lot of the stuff we did, like most of the stuff that we have there is pretty much us playing live in the studio. Like it's just playing live in the studio, and then a few overdubs, and obviously the vocals separate and all that kind of thing, but it's mainly us playing live, no click track or anything like that as well. We're just like, which was a nightmare for Terry then if we had to do anything like that. But it just really worked, and that's
he didn't like that at all.
I think click tracks can actually be kind of distracting. I don't know if you feel about that.
Oh, well, especially when there's only 2. So like, if you can imagine, we were probably about maybe 4 or 5 feet away from each other, and there was a massive amp, and then I obviously had headphones just to hear myself because it was so loud. It was really like we were facing each other the whole time, and the amp was actually out in a different room, wasn't it, as well? But yeah, like the studio is amazing. If you, like, it's a great spot, and we'll definitely be back, down there at some stage. But it was just a really enjoyable process, I have to say. Just very relaxed, very. I think it was just he got us in a nice mood. So I think we got the best out of it, and listening back to the album, like we were so happy with it, the stuff that he was sending back to us as well, and knowing that there's a piano in there somewhere. I'm not going to say what track.
It's like when you go to an old house, there's a piano in there somewhere.
You can hear it playing somehow.
I have to ask then. So, like, what was it about kind of what was about him as a producer kind of like made you kind of work with him? Was it just the studio that you were interested in, or how did that kind of like collaboration come? Because I think that's very interesting in terms of like I actually do think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of merit to getting kind of producers who are outside kind of your typical genre, and also I think it's beneficial for producers too to work with kind of an array of different kind of artists too. So yeah, I was wondering how that actually kind of came to be.
So yeah, I was looking around for different kind of places to kind of record. I was looking at like I can't remember the name, but down where Fontaines and stuff used to record down. Anyway, that's a different place, but it's down. It's down with the cinema somewhere. But so I was looking at different. Producers down, and he kind of cropped up a bit, and I was looking at the studio itself, because the studio is really, it's quite small, and obviously like we're only a two piece as well, so it looked suitable for us. And he has, like, he has a lot of guitars around. He has his kit set up. He has it all. He has certain kits set up. He has all his little tuning done. He has the like all the he like the place is set up ready to go pretty much when you walk in. You literally just have to kind of bring your own, your sound into it. And then I think he was as we were saying, like he was kind of, he didn't really know what he expected when we went in. I like the look of the place basically, and when I was talking to him through kind of, I was back and forth with him through emails, and I was just asking him, like, would he be interested? I sent him on a few of the tunes we'd done before, and he was like, absolutely. Like, it was more so, I suppose, the studio that probably appealed to us more, I would say.
Right.
And then when we went in, and like it's an amazing studio, like so comfortable, like it's very relaxed, and it's very kind of, it was really handy for us to kind of get to as well, but in those kind of little short spurts as well. Like, so if we went to, we booked a place out for a weekend or maybe a 3-day week or something, that's absolutely fine. But it was nice that we could just kind of pop up there and give him a shout and go, Terry, let's stay tonight or whatever, a couple hours here and there. And he really enjoyed it. He honestly, like, he did. And he does a lot of pop stuff. He has a lot of different kind of groups in, and the more he kind of got into it, you could see his head nodding a bit more, he was definitely, he wasn't.
You see him adding stuff to his Spotify playlist.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think as well, like as Brian was saying there, I think initially it was maybe with the studio that we were kind of looking at, but when we got to know Terry a bit more then as well, and like we just really enjoyed working with him. The good thing about Terry as well is that he's relatively, like, down to business as well. It's not like you're not kind of going in for it now, Joey, or whatever. Like,
absolutely not.
He wants to get the work done, and he's very focused on that, and that helps us as well, because maybe we have a tendency maybe to go off a bit. But we actually, it's very good for us focusing, like, on what we actually need to get done. And he's actually very good. He was very good at kind of planning, what we should do next and all this kind of stuff as well.
But the other thing that he did as well, which was, I think that kind of got us more focused as well, was like he might try and do something in the studio that we didn't like. So we were like, no, you can't do that. That's it. Like, we have to take that out. And he get like a bit, he was like standing off, but we'd go, do you know what, Terry, like, this is going to work better for both of us, or for all of us. So he was like, he understood what we were trying to do then, basically. So, and then he was the same. Like, he was like, do you know what, I'll throw a few bits in here. And then we were like, yeah, no, that's good. And then it was probably, it could be the other way around then as well. Like, that we'd be kind of trying to say, oh, we want to do it this way. And Terry was like, that's just not going to work. That kind of way. So he was very experienced at having, the knowledge that he had for recording in that studio, and what needed to be done for our kind of sound was great. So he would be able to tell us, like, no, that's what you're trying to do there isn't going to work. We have to do it this way or whatever, so, which is always very good. So I think there was a good kind of back and forth between us, and that we kind of bounced off each other, like the ideas kind of were going back and forth as well.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the album, it came out today. It's Songs of Last Resort. I was wondering, I mean, you were kind of sort of alluding to it's been a while kind of in the making. Obviously, you talked there about the actual production in terms of kind of taking roughly a year on and off to actually get kind of like done. But generally, so Hunting's, like, in terms of your first release, been around at least releasing music since 2018. Is that a good kind of indicator of when the project as it exists now began, or had you been doing stuff as Hunting's prior to that, and that was just kind of like when you started releasing music?
Yeah, I think it was maybe a year or two before that came out. I think was when we actually started. It's a little bit blurry now because
Sure, sure.
because of the changeover. Because like to me, it seems like we've been playing together for since the early 2000s or whatever. But
Right.
the hunting stuff actually started maybe a year or two before that. I think it was around 2016, something like that. So, um, but that was when it kind of really took off, and like we've had a couple of singles since then, and that kind of thing. But we've kind of just been developing our sound as we've gone along, and as you kind of alluded to there as well, a bit songs of last resort. That was like a little bit taking the piss out of ourselves as well, because it's been a little while. And that title actually came from I was reading something about this thing called Letters of Last Resort, which is these letters that apparently the UK Prime Minister gives to these submarine captains in the event that there's a nuclear war and Britain is wiped out. Basically, it's what their retaliation is going to be, basically. So I read that Letters of Last Resort, and then I just thought it was a great title, and I was like, we just kind of tweaked it a little bit. Obviously, Songs of Last Resort, and as I said, it was just like a little bit poking fun on ourselves as well, like that kind of thing. But hopefully, it won't be of last resort now at this stage, But yeah, yeah.
But it
It's
was kind of more, well, it was partially as well because we kind of tried to record this album previously over the last few years, and it just never really happened. And it was like, okay, this is it now. We have to get this. We have to get this done. But yeah, no, it's brilliant just to finally have it out today. Actually, I had this like really weird big breath today. It was nice. I just stayed it up there, seeing it out. So yeah, it was great.
It's 8 years attention.
yeah. That's what I mean, like, yeah. But like that, but that is the thing. Like we have been kind of, as I said, developing kind of sound over the last while. And in like not so long ago, I'd say we went through quite a kind of prolific writing period as well. That we like I'd say maybe half the album was probably written in a very short space of time or something like that as well. And it really kind of seemed to flow out of us, like, which is I kind of said before, but like I always think that's kind of the best time, when like that's my favorite time about being in a band, like, as well. Like, we love playing live, we love like everything, like we love having our music out and all that kind of thing. But actually, like the thing I love the most is when we're just in the studio, we're actually writing something new, and it's really flowing and it's just sounding brilliant, and the hairs in the back of your neck stand up and all that kind of thing. That's the most enjoyable thing, I think, for me as well. So we went through that period, not too long before the album, not too long before we started recording the album, and actually, like, we got about 4 or 5 songs written in a very short space of time, and a couple of them I think we've released as singles already as well from the album. And like that was just a brilliant thing, and especially it kind of we focused in on what we wanted the album to sound like as well. So that was a big thing for us as well.
Actually, one final thing I'll ask is, if I'm correct, I think you just have to actually go soon. If I'm correct, I sold till 7, so I'll try not to take up too much more time.
Oh yeah, we have a few minutes out there.
We got a few minutes.
Yeah,
No, I was just gonna ask. So, like, you mentioned like bands like Queens of Stone Age, Therapy's kind of influencing this. I don't know if you're familiar with the band, but I was when I was listening to the record, I was thinking of there's this New York band from the 90s. They're like a punk band called Civ, CIV. I was getting flashbacks to that. So I'm just kind of adding to this, I think. But I really do think it is a really like a really great, accomplished record. And my question is, do you think it was actually kind of good in retrospect to have the kind of time to sort of solidify your sound, and not only that, but to also I guess be inspired by new things, like as you mentioned, like as you kind of grow as people, you learn you listen to new things, you discover new things, and you take influence from new things. Do you think if you'd made this record, say, back in 2018, 2019, it would be the album that it is today? Or do you think it's actually too influenced by the passing of time for the album then to be what it is now?
Yeah, I would say.
Great question.
Yeah.
That's
I have one left. So
we're rolling our stones here, stroking our babes. I would say, well, definitely, if we had recorded it, when we started out first, it wouldn't be like it is now. We've definitely developed, I think, as a band. I think we've actually got like kind of more I think we've actually got tighter with our songwriting process and all that kind of thing. We probably had a tendency to, write these 5-6 minute songs initially at the start and all that kind of thing. But we've gotten better at editing ourselves and that kind of thing. And we don't want to listen to ourselves play these kind of numbers that go on for ages or stuff like that. But not even just in length terms, but actually just editing ourselves in terms of what the song needs, or what way it will go, or what way it'll sound best, like how it should go and all that kind of thing.
We do kind of have an idea of, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah,
we do have an idea of kind of what the next process will be. Kind of we're looking at kind of a different maybe style slightly. I think you're right though. Some of the songs on the album were kind of written a good while ago as well.
One or
two of them, like not many, but like we're kind of happy to have them released, and now that they're out there, we're happy to kind of move on from that and then try and do something different. We have a few ideas of like what way we want to go and how we do that, and like I think any kind of influences that we like, any kind of music that we hear, like, could be really, could be we mentioned trip hop, like as kind of like a really massive Portishead and stuff like that, Massive Attack. They're massive influences on us as well. Could we bring that into it a bit more and stuff like that as well? We'd love kind of that style. I think Tales on the album, that was our kind of big Massive Attack Angel / type of song that we were kind of aiming at the time. It got a bit heavier than Angel probably, but I think we were kind of looking at those kind of things. So any influence we can get, like we love kind of throwing them in, and we'll see where it goes after that. Like so,
but I think like just the actual like taking in new influences and stuff like that. I actually don't know that band you just mentioned there, so I must actually check them out as well. So, but I like.
Let me know if you hate them. That'd be really funny. How dare you?
I mean, better. Like, what was he talking about? But no, like I'm always on the lookout for something new as well. Actually, I've gotten mad into I don't know. Do you know the Cool Greenhouse? This band my mate Neil told me about, and they're kind of a little bit like they sound a little bit like The Fall, doing like this kind of indie stuff as well. But it's like it's really good. Like that. Sorry, that probably isn't a great description, but anyway, but they're really good. They're really like all their songs are really sarcastic and all that, which I love. Like it's just really sarcastic as well. His lyrics.
No, I love that. I love that kind of like bitter sort of like. I think that's a better way to express anger and frustration. Like I think of like someone like an Elvis Costello, and I think like compare that to say like a Slayer. I'm not saying one is inherently better than the other. It's just a preference. I prefer like when it's kind of bitter and cynical.
I saw a video of who was it today? Billy Joel, like smashing his piano.
Yes, I saw that too.
That was today.
Let me play my song.
The lighting tech didn't do his job.
That was in Moscow, wasn't it?
It was. I just saw that today. But that's exactly what should happen.
There you go. I'll smash my piano. That old piano in the
yeah, great. I guess that's the gig over.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have another one wheel out.
Is the opener still around? I promise I won't do that.
Does he have a piano technician at the side for different pianos for different songs?
No, hopefully, yeah.
Never know.
Thanks very much for your time, guys. Really nice chatting with you. I guess one thing I'll just say is there anything you'd like to add, and you'd like to plug. You mentioned you're playing in Cork. If you want to give me the details, I'll try and get it to coincide with that.
So the next Saturday, 2nd of November, we're playing down in Fred Zeppelin's down in Cork. So that's going to be great. We've a few family members down there as well, which we're really looking forward to them seeing us kind of down there as well. So that's actually our first gig that we're playing in Cork.
Then we're going to Fibbers then.
We've Fibbers then at the end, 21st of November as well. So that's going to be a great one as well. I always actually like playing Fibbers as well, because you always get a good crowd in, and kind of.
We're working on maybe a couple of. We're trying to get a couple of kind of gigs before the end of the year as well.
Just kind of promote the album and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like do a bit of touring around, and so hopefully get a few more of them in and that kind of thing, and then we start it all over again in the new year, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Festivals hopefully next year. That's what we're looking at. We'd love to kind of play the tunes around Ireland, especially, and go and stuff like that as well. We're looking at, so we're kind of working on those at the moment. But any feedback, please send it on.
I can actually I give you contact with, if you just message me through with the email and the website, I can give you contact for someone in Galway. If hopefully be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate you taking the time out as well.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it today. Like, really enjoyed chatting to you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the album is great. I'm not just being polite or encouraging. It really is, and everyone should listen to it.
Thanks very much. No, really appreciate that. Like, it's great to hear that. Like it's great to let other people hear it, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess it can be kind of daunting too, because like it's like, you kind of like nurture it, you kind of foster it, and then it's like, it's out in the world now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, like any feedback we can get, that's something we've been kind of dying to have as well. So it's great to hear that. So I'm delighted.
If you're gonna talk shit, you have to post your full name and address. That's a criteria. It's like, you can say what you want as long as you use your IP address. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and best luck with the album and everything.
Appreciate it. Thanks a million.
Hope you chat to you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Take care.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. We're an independent venture run by yours truly, and as I said at the beginning, liking, rating, subscribing and sharing really helps us out a lot. If you're feeling extra generous, we do have a PayPal donation link in the episode description, but don't feel obligated, of course. We've also begun releasing occasional exclusive episodes on Spotify, so subscribe there if you'd be interested in hearing those. Thanks again for listening, and see you next time.